Okay, welcome to another episode of PulumiVision. Right now, I'm only welcoming you if you're watching this on replay because nobody's joined the stream yet. So we'll welcome people when we see them pop in. But this
Hey,
kind of gets us
replay.
started. Yeah, welcome. Hello to people in the future watching this when it occurred in your past. We are here today on PulumiVision to talk about KubeCon and CloudNativeCon Europe 2022 because I've been informed, as I understand, we're not supposed to just call it KubeCon, right?
No,
Must always refer to it as KubeCon and CloudNativeCon. But
there is more to cloud native than Kubernetes.
lies. Joining me here on PulumiVision is Paris, who is on the Kubernetes Steering Committee and has a long roster of expertise in the CNCF and in the community. Paris, how many KubeCons have you been to? Okay, we're just going to, I'm sorry, we are going to have to just call it KubeCon for the rest of this. Just pretend, like auto expand it out every time I say it. But
it's a
how many
long
have you been
name.
to?
I think this might be my 9th.
Jeez.
So I've been to most, except for, I think, the Berlin and the first Seattle, I think.
Oh,
Yes.
Someone says, what is KubeCon? Okay, well, that's an interesting choice to join our, but that's okay. Cool. So, well, that's actually, yeah, what is KubeCon? That's a good place that I need to start, right? So, KubeCon is,
KubeCon originated as like the Kubernetes conference, and then the ecosystem flourished so much around it, as everybody knows. And now we all gather to talk about all things cloud native, and it's really just full of camaraderie, showcasing, learning, and so much more in multiple locations a year.
Awesome. I'm just while you're doing that, I'm doing a little Twitch thing.
Twitchy
trying to remember how to get
Twitch.
into the stream manager. No, that's not what I want.
You know what? I'm not even in Twitch right now. I want to get in there, so I'm going to do
right.
that.
I just wanted to. I need to check out. Okay, cool. Anyway, fair enough. Cool. So we're in there. So yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about KubeCon Europe that's happening in Valencia in May.
And did you say you've been to Spain before?
I have not. I have never been to Spain. And this is only my second KubeCon. I've never been to KubeCon. Well, okay. It will only be my second in-person KubeCon. So I participated in KubeCon EU last year that was virtual. So I guess that you could say it's my third KubeCon. It's only my second time in person.
And that means we met at your first in person.
We did. That is true. And it was at the very end of it too. So we just almost missed it. It took the entire week.
It took the entire week. Look, we're busy people, okay?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Paris didn't like me too. So
no.
Yeah. But it's okay. So it's happening in May in Valencia in Spain, but also virtually. So if you can't get yourself to Spain, if that's not feasible for you, you can absolutely participate virtually. And what we're going to do, I think what we were thinking would be fun is kind of take a look at, so there's tons and tons and tons of talks, right? So thought it might be kind of fun to sort of spin a little bit through the schedule. I haven't looked at it super duper carefully, so this will be a little bit of discovery for me. I don't know, Paris, have you dug into the schedule yet?
A little bit in certain areas that I'm really interested in, but definitely not others. I mean, just looking right now at the track list, and I can't believe there's as many tracks, period. So yeah, no, when I say dig in, I mean maybe to the community track and to the maintainer track and to other tracks that I'm deeply involved in. So I'm really looking forward to, I'm looking forward to seeing what you know about this too, because I want to hear about some other tracks that I haven't dug into yet.
So I will drop into the chat, if the link, if you want to follow along, but also you'll see the Interesting. Could not post to some channels. I don't know why it doesn't let me do certain things, but okay, cool. Anyway, that's the link. For some reason, it isn't letting me post this into the LinkedIn, but that's all right. It's cool. But if you are watching it on the LinkedIn, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you can go to plumipus/KubeCon EU schedule. And that's what we're looking at. So it's kind of happening. So first of all, so like Monday is like, it doesn't really start right away, right? Like the first day or two or some pre-events.
Yeah, they're usually like the pre-events, the get the party started, the like the offshoots of the community, the ecosystem players, all kinds of learning, sometimes all day tutorials and things like that. It's kind of like getting people up and running for the main show. Which is, you know, obviously several tracks of talks. But yeah, Monday is just getting people going. And I think a lot of people come into town on Monday too. And so yeah, Monday is kind of like that get ready today.
So yeah, we see there's like a telco day, a WASM day, you know, you have CsecurityCon Europe, you know, so sort of like mini.
Yes. I will definitely be there, probably.
You're going to be at the security one?
Yeah, definitely getting my security on.
Additional registration and fee is required. Are you prepared to do that? Okay.
Yes.
I don't want you to show up and be like, I'm Paris, y'all, let me in.
Yes.
Although
the content is going to be so good, y'all. There's so many experts in this for this. So I think it's just a really important topic, obviously hot on the heels of Log4j and so many other incidents. So I think a lot of folks will get value out of that for sure.
I'm going to drop in the chat here in case you see it. This is the actual details about that particular part of the event. They you know, because again, they're sort of their own mini things. So if you want to kind of see who's actually, now I'm looking like, yeah, if they've listed, it said the program was going to be listed. So is there a way that you can, I don't know, whatever, one thing at a time. Okay, cool. And then that's the second day is kind of the same way, right? The first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, are these like pre-days, right?
Yep.
So
I mean, Monday also does have one thing that's not listed there, which is the Kubernetes Contributor Summit. We have a ton of folks on the Kubernetes side right now who are organizing something a little lighter than what we usually do. We usually put on like a 3-ring circus. I mean, honestly, it's a thing. Like, it's on conferences, scheduled talks. I mean, we just have our own rodeo for the most part with tons of upstream maintainers. Like, this is their place to gather and talk and be heard and voice concerns and even accolades and awards and like everything under the sun. So yeah, when I say 3-ring circus, it was definitely a 3-ring circus. So a fun one. Yeah, I'd love it. So this year, though, we have a ton of EU folks that are organizing still like a half day plus a social. If folks that are listening right now are Kubernetes contributors, Contributor Summit and Kubernetes Slack will have a ton of info for you. Check it out and listen up for more news.
Awesome. Well, that's fun. And is there any kind of requirement to participate in that? Do you have to have a commit to Kubernetes or?
It depends this year. Sometimes depending on the discussion topic and things like that, given that there's 60,000 contributers, period, we could literally have our own, like our own 5 days, right? So there's capacity constraints and things like that. So it just depends though on the content. I think this year it's much lighter, like I said. So it might be, more open. But yeah, definitely Kubernetes Slack channel. We can even talk about later on, like how if folks want to get involved and how they can get involved. But keep eye on the prize for KubeCon. But
yeah, we'll keep it. So this is still Tuesday. So we're just gonna. I'm just sort of looking because I'm gonna need to entertain myself. So I'm gonna be there. Like I get in like on Saturday. Because I wanted to give myself a little time to, get like adjusted. Because it's been
the beach.
A minute since I've done international travel, right?
So the beach.
So Yeah, sit on the beach, and then
The beach.
but maybe I'll have to see what there is to these Tuesday, and we got a bunch of things happening. But let's go. Okay, so but Wednesdays, like this is when this is the meat, if you will, or maybe that's not included. If you don't eat meat, doesn't mean you have to eat it, but this is the core. This is the
Well, you shouldn't
central.
Don't sleep on the lightning talks the night prior, though.
Okay, so they're I see. So they're the night before,
Yeah.
and these are just part of if you've got a registration, you can do these. These are not separate.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah.
Oh,
so don't sleep on those. There's nothing of all people that folks that can do a nugget in 10 minutes are gold.
Well,
so
let's take a look now, because I'm gonna kind of be into this. All right, so we got oh, see, already I'm intrigued, because this is near and dear to my heart, which is why happen instead of who done it, avoiding the term human error. Yes, absolutely. We talk about Sydney Decker and safety too. So, I know what I am doing at 17:30 on that Monday. So I hope, Tuesday. So that's already done. Yeah. They're all right after each other. I don't think you really duck in for one lightning talk. You kind of do them all, but
that's enough. I see a log for J talk too.
Where's the log for? Oh, well,
yeah, of course. So I feel like that's going to be. I feel like supply chain security, and there's probably going to be even more log4j references at this event.
Yeah,
we're going to hear that so much.
Oh, this is interesting too. I love that, as a community person. So you've got Sam talking about running a local CNCF chapter. That's always interesting to me. But I think, I love this beginning to maintainer, the journey of a student. So,
Deba's in Contrib-X in Kubernetes and so many other projects.
So these are fascinating. So yeah, we will definitely. I will find my way to these lightning talks without a question. All right, so we do have some of these. So some of these keynotes were. Some of them are still TBD. Okay, so watch this space.
People have a keynote shot.
So so we've got some of these are just kind of these keynotes, right? Are really about what do you got? Okay, so we got Priyanka, just sort of opening remarks, not to dismiss, but that's just you have to have that, right? And I'm sure they'll be great. We don't really know what she's going to talk about, right? Too. What's that?
Priyanka is a great public speaker too.
Yes.
So I'm sure it's going to be good.
So we've got we're not going to dig into every single one. So I'm going to kind of, as I'm looking here, if anything jumps out at me, but the same thing for you, Paris, if you're
Allison's talk better jump out at you. At
there it is. Okay, sorry, No, this is fantastic, right? So, and congrats to Allison for pulling this open, early on keynote slot in here. That's pretty
impressive.
Awesome. And if Allison was actually on our last episode of PulumiVision, and there's, maybe those things are.
What y'all end up doing? I missed that one.
We actually, it was your idea. It was Paris's idea. We talked about QLang, and actually, Dan Jolly, one of the core contributors, was on the stream, was in the chat. And he and I are gonna catch up in a couple days, because he's watching y'all go through it. I was taking furious notes about how we could make this experience better for new people. So it was really fun, and I learned that
that is
raw
code.
Raw code is super into Q. By the way, I didn't even know. Did you know that before you told me? Oh, he loves it. It's his favorite thing in the world. He's built so much stuff with it, so it was super fun. So yeah, go back if you didn't check that out. Go that was fun. But anyway, so okay, so I mean, this is huge. Anybody who's doing anything with an open source project at any scale, right? You can't just sort of wait for contributors to show up. So I'm fascinated to see that. Emily is a great speaker. Everybody here, this is going to be an awesome.
What's the talk on?
This is just the closing remarks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's just sort of winding things up.
Emily Fox.
Emily Fox.
I thought
sorry, not Emily Freeman. No, Emily Fox. Yeah.
Yes. See, there
also
are
great.
Too many Emilys, but yes, Emily Fox, who, by the way, is a new chair too. So props.
So I'm just spinning up real quick because Paris mentioned how many tracks there are. So now, granted, this is not all tracks because there's like registration, which is not really a track, and co-located events, but still, or breaks. I sign up for the breaks track. Oh, literally, this is the hallway track.
By the way, virtual hallway track is really fun too, y'all.
Yes.
So virtual hallway track happens. Yeah, that happens in CNCF Slack, and a bunch of folks will get together, and then all of a sudden it's hundreds on a Zoom hanging out. So if y'all are like, dang, I really want to go to Valencia, but I can't make it out for whatever reason, which by the way, might be me. I'll be hanging out with you virtually or on the beach if I make it out. So
or both. I mean, even if I think I might, have to pop into the virtual hallway track at least a little bit when we're there to
for sure
connect with the virtual folks. But now we get into the tracks, right? So there's we clearly, the stream is only so long. We can't dig into every single one, but we're just sort of a couple things. So I just kind of like the title of this one. As someone who gives a lot of conference talks, I'm always a sucker for like a clever title, but not a too clever title, right? That's that fine balance, and I think to me, this one works. West Side CD, the deployment ballet goes on, right? I'm into it. I may have to go see this talk just for the title. Let's see. We've got a lot of these are like experience reports, which is great. And so this is Brown is the student track, right? No, security and identity, which is the student track. It's almost the same color. That problem.
There's so many tracks and only so many.
There's only so many colors in the Pantone. Okay, so where were we here? Okay, we were taking. Sorry if you're watching this. There's as I'm scrolling too quickly, probably. Okay, so we virtual project office hours. If you're into that project, I could see that being really helpful to be able to go.
Project office hours are great for any kind of, like, if you're an engineer or if you're somebody that's managing, because you can ask project maintainers quick questions that you need addressed right then. You can also learn how you can get involved outside of things like help wanted issues. Like I think that's the real connection piece here, in my opinion. Like, I know everybody loves, the technical talks and stuff like that, but I genuinely think at the heart of this community is a lot of that, just being able to connect with contributors and maintainers and, people who are working on these things full time and part time and independently. So I think that's just like a true value add. So if you've never done one of those, you can always just go and sit and listen to just check it out.
What are people talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What are people talking about? Like where the project's going to go, etc. So
I was just having a thought, because like different people come to conferences in general, but especially like something like KubeCon for like lots of different things. Like sometimes I am hands deep in using Kubernetes, for example, or whatever tooling or whatever things as part of my day-to-day job. And I'm looking for like some practical, like, how did you solve this problem? How did you solve my problem? Right. But also then because I'm looking, and I'll tell you the talk that made me think about it. To me, I also sometimes love watching talks that are about a use case that it's never occurred to me and I will never do, but it's fascinating because it's different. So like this Kubernetes for Mac, right? Like AWS Mac, I'm like, this is not part of my life, but I probably really want to go see this talk because it's not the same stuff I've heard about. Also, I feel like I should be logged in. I should be able to like actively. I'm not logged in. I was like, we could be building my schedule right now if I was prepared.
This would be the more productive of this session.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong Chrome instance. I'm in my work one. It's not logged in to Linux Foundation. I mean, I could fix that actually. Actually, maybe we should do that. Hey, let's take a second here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a minute because I don't know if anything is gonna show up that I don't want people to see, like security things. Because also, in case you missed when Ellie Diamond was on and I popped a shell on my laptop because I gave her administrator access to my MacBook. Clearly, security is a high priority. Okay,
Looks like you should go to SecurityCon, Matty.
I really should. I am evidence that just because you follow a lot of security people on Twitter doesn't mean that you actually know anything in your own life about security.
It starts at home.
Log in with Sked. Why won't this let me? Come on, 1Password. Oh my goodness, this is harder than it needed to be.
Yeah, well, while you're doing that,
why don't you?
I'm going to give kudos to the event chairs.
Yeah.
So Jasmine, Emily, Ricardo, y'all rock. If you're listening out there and you're like, what's an event chair? These are the folks that run this conference. They give the yeses and the nos, and they put together a fine program for us and really help us define the community by this event. So super shout out to them and all the hard work that they put into this. So it's so many hours and so many people to talk to. So it's really awesome.
So what we're learning here is now since I am logged in, now I've got this little ticky box next to them.
Ooh.
So I can just tick what I want to do. Also, and we'll talk about this later, you're speaking at this event. Manage and promote. We're not going to promote my session just yet, but we will when we get to it. Because also Paris is like,
I know what you're talking about. I know, I don't.
Earlier we're in here, we're talking, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, I'm talking about this overlay thing or whatever. She goes, no, I mean it. You're in your talk, not like what you're talking about at this very second.
Yeah.
No, stop.
I have no idea what Matty's KubeCon talk is.
We're gonna get to that. Okay, so we were, it was the Kubernetes for Mac. We're definitely gonna do that one for sure. I'm not saying you have to follow my own thing, but also this is. Again, all of our security friends, if they are watching this even now or later, are like, Matty, you're terrible, right? You gave Allie access to your computer. Now you're telling everybody on the internet where you're going to be at any given time, but it's okay. You're going to be able to find me at KubeCon. It's fine. We're good. Let's see. Also, if you are watching this in your speaker and you don't see me tick the little box, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to come see your talk. This is what's jumping out at me right now.
You always have to give all these disclaimers.
I have disclaimers. All right, so I'm going to kind of skim a little bit. Let's see, because we're still only in the evening of the first day.
No, right.
Let's see.
There's so much
stuff. Oh, so I need to go see Justin speak. Justin Cormack.
What's Justin speaking on? I'm already
Notary
well ahead
V2.
of you in my schedule building right now.
Yeah.
Notary V2?
Yeah. I don't even know what that is.
Well, that sounds
maybe
like something you might want to find out.
Do a deep dive into something that's not relevant to my sorry, Justin. Well, I'll let someone else do that. Wait, what was this one? Okay. Disrupting the downtime continuum. Ooh, what's Oh yeah, see, I'm interested in that, like day 2 stuff, right? It's real easy to be bright and shiny, and then you're like, I'm old school ops, man. I'm like, how do we actually do this? So that's cool.
I think that's all ops.
Well, you know what I mean.
I do.
Let's see. I need to do more. I don't understand anything about Prow. And Paris was telling me something like, "Oh, we have this whole thing in Prow. You should just do it." Blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't know how to use Prow. So, this looks like the perfect talk for me.
Yes, right? It is. It's a really good talk. So if folks are out there like, what's Prow? What are they talking about? Prow is the Kubernetes homegrown CI/CD system, brought to you by our SIG testing crew, and it's used now by so many projects. I think we're over 30 at this point, and not just projects of CNCF, but also Amazon EKS, OpenShift, a couple other cloud providers, Jenkins X. So you want to talk about like badass, check out Prow. And definitely they're looking for more maintainers and contributors too as well. So you can help change the coordination and the path of it So that's a great talk to go to and kind of hear that overview. So yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah, and for again, from like a Pulumi perspective, I remember at LA there were quite a few people who were like, because some people talk about Prow, so like I want to understand this story because how does this fit into Infracode and all those places too. So I'm fascinated by that. So we'll check that one out. Let's see.
Yeah, this was I think even before Probot days.
Yeah. All right. So Celeste is giving a talk about documentation. Yes, I'm just going to go to that.
Yes.
So also everybody should go to any documentation or docs talk you can ever see, because I guarantee you never know enough about this and you can never be better about it. Right. So, so this is my yes, go ahead and sign up for that one. What is this one? Pod security. So
yes, I was just about to say that. Lockie's talk.
Yeah, for sure. Yep,
Lockie's
there's all sorts of
public
reasons. We're going to
speaker
sign up
and
for that one.
storyteller.
Now, I will say this as well. So for reference, Pulumi is a sponsor of at this event, and I will have some sponsor booth duty responsibilities. So as much as I'm trying to build my schedule, I may find myself, but I'm going to try to work around it. But my schedule, this is the other thing. Actually, I'm going to give a recommendation for people. This is as a relatively professional conference goer or a conference goer that does it for a living a little bit. You're always better off building your schedule over extended, because it tells you a couple different things. So first of all, I always look at it as being not conservative, right? Like put more things. And I always like to think, because maybe you're like, you go into a talk and you're like, oh, this, and again, you shouldn't, like, if you're sitting in the front row, don't walk out on somebody's talk, but but you might even change your mind. Like later you might be like, oh, you know what? I don't actually want to see that one now. And so you always want to have all your stuff. This booth, for example, I might as well just put that on my list, because I already know it's going to be there. I'm going to, be handing out Pulumi swag. By the way, I can't tell you what it is, but my coworker, Kat Cosgrove, has provisioned some very exclusive, first time ever Pulumi swag for this KubeCon event. Limited supply. We expect them to be all the rage. And so make sure you find us as soon as possible, because you'll all right. I'm not even checking the keynotes, because you go to the keynotes, right? But I kind of, again, this is all about people. Yeah, I mean, for crying out loud. Tech is easy. People are hard. I'll go listen to Steven talk about that all day long. But really
what's the title?
Only for 5 minutes, I guess.
What's the title of Steven's talk?
The API is people.
Oh, okay.
But it's also only 5 minutes long.
Steven doing a lightning 5 minutes.
A lightning keynote, right? I kind of love it.
I know.
They should do that more, actually. Keynotes should, we should have more keynotes that are just, I mean, there's a reason that TED Talks are the length they are, right? That's all science. But I just love Ignites. But that's a different story. That's not a lightning talk. That's just a different.
Yeah, I do. I think that's like an art form, in my opinion.
It is. And I will tell you also, just again, if you're watching, like, I have a friend who doesn't do a lot of speaking anymore, but when he did, he much preferred Ignites, because he would get nervous giving the talk, and in Ignite he could practice and do it exactly the same every time, beat by beat by beat. And the longer the talk gets, the harder that is to do. But in Ignite, he was like, he could memorize it, but also not even memorize just the words, but know the beats. And it gave him a lot and then he gave amazing Ignites because of that. They were perfect. Mine are chaos, and everyone is different. It's basically improv talk track according to my slides is me doing it Ignite. Don't be me. Be my friend Jerry.
I did a lightning at one of the KubeCons, and it was about my favorite emojis on Kubernetes Slack. And so if people want to know about how serious I am with my lightning talks, you can check out my emoji talk on YouTube.
Most of my Ignites are comedic in nature, and that's the other thing, because you can't really, nobody wants a 30-minute funny talk. That's just too much, right? Like there's very few people, unless you're deserving of a Netflix special,
Right.
you don't get 30 minutes to be funny, but 5 minutes you can pull off. And one of my favorites that I did that reminded me of, I did this at a chef conf years ago, and it was like Dev Lollops, and it was about automating GIFs in chat. And this was before there were bots like Giphy bots and stuff. And it was like, so I had a whole system of like how I did keyboard, like text expansion and curating them and all this stuff. And I gave a talk about it. And, but anyway, that has nothing to do with this. But anyway, the point is, Ignites are awesome. There are no Ignites at KubeCon, but there are lightning talks, which are also fun. What else do we have here? Fun with continuous compliance. Is continuous compliance really fun? I'm going to find out.
Hopefully somebody can make it fun.
Yeah, let's see. All right, we may look back through some things, but I want to make sure we get a chance to. So SIG CLI, okay. I mean, someone's got to worry about that stuff. And those are probably some of the most important things that because they're not bright and shiny, but you'd be really mad if they did a crappy job. So I'm looking forward to this talk. And again, I work in community and stuff, but I saw Nancy and Karen have this talk about what the hell does a community manager actually do? And
for sure. Yeah.
So,
everyone just thinks that I think we tweet.
Right. Or they think it's DevRel, or they think DevRel is community management. Yeah, it's all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
Except it's also happening at the same time as another. This always happens. People always, my friends, speaking at the same time, and then I have to decide who I like better.
Who is it?
Well, it's Julie. So Julie Gunderson at Gremlin and Kareem at Hashi. But Julie and I worked together at PagerDuty for years, and felt like years maybe. But anyway, I don't know. I'm going to check them both because remember, you got to have a backup. So we'll see. This way I can see who is nicer to me, who buys me more cookies at KubeCon, if it's Julie or Nancy.
Neither, I hope.
Probably nobody's buying. Also,
attitude.
Is Valencia known for cookies?
No, I don't.
Maybe
I
it's
don't know. Maybe.
So, all right. Well, we've got a couple things. Okay, so we got that going on. We're just not going to even talk about multi-cloud right now.
Nah.
You're gonna. Let's see. Cluster 8. Okay, so this all looks. Let's see. Distributed supply. Yeah, I mean. Oh, what is this? Cost management best practice. Again, these are the things where I'm just like,
where's the cost management best practices?
This one right here. Why Kubernetes can't get around FinOps. Cost management best practices. So
Definitely
I don't know.
I want to check that one out. Actually, there is a new FinOps foundation actual foundation under Linux Foundation now.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about. They said the FinOps approach and the foundation, which coined the word, dedicated itself to. So interesting. Ooh, maintainers toolkit. What is this? I'm not.
Oh, that's a little something from the contributor strategy SIG. To help other projects just get up and going, and also, what maintainers need to succeed and thrive and do awesome things for the project. So it's great that we all are a community that can collaborate together, and we can hear best practices and stuff like that. So Carolyn and Dawn are working on that and doing great things. So if you have a project out there, go and see that. It's definitely going to be valuable.
Excellent. This one I just had while you were saying that. So I love this understanding Kubernetes through real world phenomena and analogies. Yes, because I always need ways to explain this better. Because as I think it was Ian Coldwater that coined it, but someone asked me to explain Kubernetes to them, and now neither of us understands it. So we need to, be better at explain, which is not a dig on Kubernetes. It's just that sometimes we don't do great by explaining things. So, any way to help explain things better. Also, as someone who has kubectl as a license plate, do you know how often I have to explain Kubernetes to non-technical people? It's called every time someone gets in my car.
So tell me, let's tell us. Tell us. I want to know.
Like, how do I explain it to people that like are
Yeah.
not in that?
Yeah, like so I'm getting in your car right now.
Okay,
And
well,
I don't do anything
if
about
I have to
Kubernetes.
explain Kubernetes to Paris Pittman, then you have
No.
been doing.
I'm fired.
You have
One, I'm
pulled the
fired.
wool over our eyes for 9
One.
KubeCons.
One, I'm fired. But no, listen, seriously,
Okay. Seriously,
I'm,
okay, cool.
I'm getting
So
in your
kind of-
car, and I don't know
And remember,
anything
this
about
is different than you'd explain it to someone who wants to understand. And not that people don't want to understand it, but it's the same thing, right? It's like, it's more of the high level thing. And so what I usually say is I say, okay, so you have websites and systems and applications and things that you use. So they all require computers to think. And not really think, because computers don't really think, but they require things to run. And they require hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. It's not just one big computer in the sky. There's lots and lots of tiny little computers that all do small, very specific things. And somehow we have to get all these tiny little specific computers to know who they need to talk to, what they're supposed to do, and where they're supposed to do it. And Kubernetes helps us get that together. So usually, though, I just say it's a computer thing. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. And that's pretty much what most people are happy with. But
Anytime I meet a developer, they're just like, tell me where to point my app.
well, but that's different. The developer's different, though, because
Yeah.
developer actually, like it's
They're like, don't explain it to me. Just tell me where
just
to
tell
point
me.
my app.
Let's see. Threat model. Okay, so a light speed introduction. I like anything that's fast. But see, like I know, like I don't even necessarily really specifically care about how the tech behind it, but like I love stories of interesting things, like again at that scale of like Xbox cloud gaming, like I just want to hear about it, right?
For sure.
Cool. Well, now we're into the last day. I guess I should go to this party. All right, so we've got just, again, I'm not even ticking off the keynotes because I just assume I'm going to go to them. Because that's not really a decision point of which one. Let's see. Avoiding mistakes, everyone does. Yes. From cloud naive to cloud native. Okay. But then
the jokes.
Yeah. Oh, TikTok.
Oh, and Max. Yeah, Max works at that company that's doing the FinOps talk too. Huh.
Oh, I mean, okay, sorry, I didn't even see this. So there's 2 reasons I'm going to go see this talk. One is, again, it's about anime or whatever. And I'm not like huge into anime, although you should know that if you want to work on the DevRel team at Pulumi, our onboarding docs do tell you to watch all of Neon Genesis Evangelion. But that's more different than that. But also Annie is amazing. So like I've done other stuff before Annie got involved in Kubernetes. So Annie Tavasto, she's given great talks, but also I've done some really, I didn't know she was a Kamunda now. Neat. Okay. So we're going to go see that talk. What anime taught me about Kate's development. Let's see. Well, we'll just go ahead because we're not going to.
That sounds like a really good talk, though. I just
Okay. So lessons learned from too much to choose. Oh yeah, okay. Anais, we're gonna go see that one. Plus, also, except we have a problem, and I knew this.
What?
So, I have a conflict. There's another talk happening at the same time as this talk that I want to see, and that talk is by this person. By this jackass Matty Stratton and the wonderful person Whitney Lee. So I'm going to have to. So I remember specifically saying, I'm going up against this. But yes, so we can take a minute to talk about my talk, or the I am helping give. It's not just my talk, with Whitney from VMware. So the talk and the link I just sort of popped into there. So the talk is
singing us a karaoke song.
Well, it did start off, I will tell you, the working title for this talk was I Wish I Were a Kubernetes Baller. So it was like based on I Wish, like by Skilo. Yeah. But then we're like, no, it's, we kind of moved our way around, but it was all very sourced from karaoke. But this isn't, while this isn't the student track, we think it should be applicable to kind of anybody that wants to check it out. And our approach is that you may or may not know this, but the cloud native landscape is kind of ridiculously big. There's a lot to it. As Paris pointed out, it's not just Kubernetes. Not only is it not just Kubernetes, it's Kubernetes plus 11 billion other things. It can be very intimidating, but we don't think that you should just give up. So we're going to talk about, because different people learn in different ways. So there's not one right way to learn cloud native, right? And so in our talk, we have some fictional learners to identify with who might come from a background similar to you or a different style. And they're all people who are trying to get better at Kubernetes and cloud native. Actually, we're being a little specific about Kubernetes in terms of this because, again, there's just too much. We only have however much time. And we're going to kind of talk about different ways to learn what your personal learning strategy might be and then what resources apply to that. We're going to kind of sprinkle in some anecdotes about real life, well-known people in the community. So I don't know, one of those might be Paris. You don't know that I'm going to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you how you learn this stuff. And if you give me a good enough answer, it'll be in the talk. But that's the thing too, because I think that stuff is helpful as well as Whitney and I both have different journeys that got us here. So this is just as, while it's not I don't want to say it's not a technical talk. It's a talk about learning, but it's specifically about how you can learn, how you can identify how you want to learn or how you learn best. And then what are some of the types of, some of the specific resources even in the community around cloud native that will help you really level that up. So that's what we're doing with that. And that's on Friday. And yeah, I guess I need to go to, oh my God, now I got to scroll all the way back down Friday.
But
like, if you're not interested in that, you can go.
I will laugh so hard if you miss your talk because you went to sit
to Anaisa's talk,
listen, to the other talk.
Yeah.
I will.
I'm not that new at this, but new enough. Wait,
new enough that you would do that.
Okay. Anyway, so we've got charting your own course through the cloud native landscape.
I think we missed my talk too, but that's okay.
We did? Where is your?
I don't even know if I'm actually listed on the
You're
schedule
not listed.
Yet.
That's why. Okay.
I'm not.
You must be one of the TBDs.
No, I'm not one of the TBDs. I wish I was the TBD. Event chairs, please give me a TBD. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, wait. So what talk is missing?
I'm doing a panel, and I don't know if I'm in the panel yet, but it's for the Kubernetes Steering Committee.
Okay, so
it's just like a come and ask us question session. So yeah, no, nothing.
I'm just trying to find it.
Nothing as entertaining as Whitney and you doing karaoke in front of a live audience. So
I don't know that we agreed to that. Oh, is it this the steering committee AMA?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's just I think they just have.
Yeah, Christoph submitted it. Christoph needs to add us. Christoph, if you're listening, add us.
and look, so you have a similar problem. So there's three. I mean, okay, to be fair, everybody, I just realized I was going to say something a little cruddy, but I didn't mean it to say. Everybody's going up against amazing people, but there are.
What the heck? Are we up against Celeste and Lockie? Oh,
I know,
oh my gosh,
right?
We're gonna get no one in our session.
Plus, actually, all these other amazing talks too. So not to.
We're gonna get no one steering committee. Dang it.
What I will tell you. So it's funny because you never know what's stuff,
Celeste
right?
and Lockie. Yeah.
So I remember I spoke at this like kind of, I'm not gonna name the event because I don't want to, but it was like this ITIL service management, kind of the old school thing. And the first year that they had a DevOps track, and they only had a couple talks in the DevOps track. It wasn't even necessarily a track, actually. It was just having, and you'll see this because almost most of the DevOps talks all happened at the same time, which was amazing. I'm like, really? So their track was simultaneous. So 3 of the people who spoke at that, and it doesn't matter if you know who they are, but I'll tell you and why this matters. So one was Damon Edwards, who's been part of the DevOps community for a long time. And if you're familiar with the term CALMs or CAMs, Damon's one who came up with it. And he's a great speaker. And then there was J. Paul Reed, who is one of my favorite speakers to listen to about this stuff because he talks a lot about resilience and all these things. And I looked at what his talk was, and then there was me, and my talk was basically like DevOps 101.
Trash.
So afterwards, no. So here's the deal. My room was standing room only. 3 people went to Paul's talk, and maybe about 20 people went to Damon's. And because it's the audience, right? Like these people, like they did, like at a more DevOps oriented event, everybody would have been, would want to hear about those things. But these were folks who had never even really understood any of it yet. And they're like, I just want to get a basic understanding. And I was like, no, you really, but Paul's much smarter than me. So the point is, anyway, you never know. Let's see what else. How do we round out our Friday though? Let's see. Students SRE that loves to see it. Okay, so this is another journey talk. I love journey talks. By the way, if you're thinking about submitting talks to events, telling your story, while it might not seem interesting to you, is interesting to a lot of people. So that's a little pro tip on talk submission.
As I tell my head,
Cuddle said, what? I just like the
interesting.
Whose story is not interesting?
I said, as I tell my head, I'm like, my story is not interesting. You know, the devil on my shoulder.
And this is interesting. Kubernetes in a manufacturing line. Oh yeah. Again, back to my thing where I'm like, I want to see the weird stuff you do, or not the weird stuff, but the stuff that people, the atypical examples, but actually are probably much more real world. Well, you know what? I feel like this talk is very similar. They're also talking about navigating the CNCF landscape, but we're talking about charting a course, which I guess they're both nautical puns. So
sounds similar there.
Sounds similar.
And Savitha is awesome. So is Keneal. And Divya. Divya. Oh, wow. There's a whole panel on here. Okay. So we're going to end today with a panel. That's the navigating.
Oh, there it is. Wait. No. Wait. Which panel?
The navigating one.
Oh, that's a panel.
You. It looks like you and Whitney are doing a story, and they're probably doing a panel.
Interesting.
Yeah,
fun,
and that'll be nice to end the week with, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's see your schedule.
Okay. Schedule. Oops. No.
Let's see what it looks like.
I'm trying to figure out how to see my own schedule. Simple expanded grid. You must be registered. My schedule. There it is. Okay. So here's what we're doing. Why do I have all these friends? Why? How did it decide I'm friends with these people? I am for the most part, but I don't even know what that means.
Oh, I wonder if it's because you clicked their session and they're speaking at that session.
Well, no, also Sketch is not just like, I think your Sketch account is broader than this. So like they may be like connections I've had from previous events. Like, I mean, Carolyn and I would be, like that's legit, but and I guess, Chris Short's okay. I'm just kidding. Chris is great. All these people are fine, but or maybe they added me and it's like, I don't know how it works. We will figure that out. All right. So here's what we got. We're going to do this lightning talk that I'm fascinated by. These 2 lightning talks are great. We're going to see about.
So that just means you should just sit there through the whole.
I'm going
to talk. Yeah,
I am,
exactly.
and I really the thing is, I feel like we're gonna go look at this in a minute, and I wonder if as a speaker you see how many people added you, because then I kind of want to like make sure to add people to gas them up a little bit too. Like, or not add them, but like same thing. Like these lightning talks just jumped at me, but obviously I'm going to see all the lightning talks.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get up and come back 15 minutes later for this event. But okay. And then we've got this, and again, the same thing. I don't have the keynotes and stuff on here, and I will have to see how my, other responsibilities go. But okay. So we got our Kubernetes for Mac. We're going to talk about Downtime, the PRA one for sure. Look at this. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to clone myself. we're going to have like a Michael Keaton multiplicity thing going on, and
Well,
actually with my luck, I'm going to get scheduled for booth duty at exactly this time. So then I don't have, actually that would be lucky because then I don't have to choose amongst all.
I was going to say you could just do a few minutes of each because knowing that you'll have the recording.
That's true. If I just, but I won't sit up front.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I will say, so when my friends are giving talks, or not even my friends, but people just in general, I like to sit in the front row and be like really supportive and positive, right? Like I just like sit there and like give big smiles and like gas people up, but I won't do that if I know I'm only going to be there for a little bit. So, okay.
Yes, Kat did that for me last year.
I got to decide between the two. The FinOps, again, I've got a conflict, but we'll figure it out.
Conflicts?
Yeah, but well, no, I get the two, right? Seeing the service, the Xbox one, but also the analogy. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to end up with the analogy one, but again.
Well, whoever is scheduling booth time at Pulumi, listen up. Yeah. Matt needs to be scheduled so he can get out of his conflicts.
So now that said, if I went back to the schedule, I want to see what I see as a speaker. Manage and promote your session. Let's see, what can we do here? Oh, there we go. So it tells me who's added it. So it matters to do that. So you should definitely, doesn't mean go and add everybody. Because you can. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life.
You clearly are.
A little bit. But yeah, 14 attendees have added your session. Cool. Well, that's a good start. Hey, private added our session. Oh, they added it 3 times. I'm just kidding. Awesome. I don't see Paris Pittman on here, so you can go to hell. But you're like, I'm not going to that. You're like, I'm going to Anais' session. Sorry, sucker.
No. I'll have my Team Whitney shirt on.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's good. As well you should. So we're actually, so we kind of talked a little bit about the schedule and the events, but there's, not for nothing, things are happening in the world. Things have been happening for a few years. But,
that's one of the main reasons why I still haven't officially booked all of my stuff. But I'm going virtually or on site, right? Like this is our thing, our time to be together and shine as a community. And there's nothing like being together in not great times. So it's, I think, for me, that's kind of pulling me in the direction of go. But I think I'll make the final call in a week or so. And I know plenty of people that have made calls one way or the other already, and also other people still in my spot. So it is what it is, right?
And I think that's kind of how we've been for lots of reasons. Just that's been real life conferences. People were doing that with KubeCon EU last year, and even with LA, with North America. It's like for all sorts of reasons. We just live in very adaptable times, but we've moved ourselves, from our community and our conference perspective to really enable for participation in lots of different ways.
Yes.
Wherever that can come in.
I think that's just also born from open source too, which is so amazing. That's like a pillar of our community, and just being always open and async and distributed. And
but did we really do it that well with conferences before?
No, definitely
the pandemic
not.
made us do it.
Yeah, definitely not. But I definitely think, out of all of the industries, we had it a little bit better. And I think that the Linux Foundation's event staff is bar none. They're the best pretty much in the land, in my opinion. And they put on great events. And I think that it's like the KubeCon in Los Angeles was so fabulous with the COVID restrictions and the safety measures and everything like that. So I've really appreciated that event a ton. So that's definitely, again, what's pushing me towards the go, knowing that they had that kind of past precedence experience now with running these kinds of events. So I think that's what helps me towards the go side. So
I think it's interesting. There's a few things, and this goes specific to the KubeCon events, but just in general. And as someone who has been heavily involved in attending and also planning and organizing conferences at all sorts of different levels of that, the one thing I've said since the beginning of us doing virtual events in 2020 is that I don't want to see us go backwards, like, because there is a huge amount of access to these events for people that can't get on a plane or can't do that. And I know we love seeing our friends in person, and there's a lot that happens with that. And I just was very hopeful, although pessimistic, I'll admit, that it's, that we weren't going to then immediately go back to the way they were. But I think these events are actually great examples of that. No, and I'm hopeful, and beyond hopeful, just I believe it to be true that this, I have my thoughts on what it means to have a hybrid conference, and I don't know that that's 100% true, but this, both virtual and in person, and having this inclusivity of all the types of participants, especially at least for KubeCon, I think that's just how it's always going to be. That's what a conference is now, and I think that's what I drive for like DevOps Day Chicago that I run. Like we're basically saying the bar has also been raised. We can't have an in-person conference where we just throw up a live stream and say, cool, that's what it was, right? Now we've done that because besides it being the right thing to be able to invite people and make it accessible to them, it makes the experience better. It just enriches everybody. So, Paris, thank you for joining me here on the stream. If you this was I
built my schedule.
What's that?
I built my schedule too.
You built your schedule too? Okay, cool.
I did.
Cool.
I did.
We will
we're prepped. We're prepared and ready to go.
We'll be back here on PulumiVision on Thursday at our usual time. So we usually do PulumiVision on Thursdays at noon Pacific, and we have our one-offs like this sometimes. We may be adjusting our regular cadence. We're talking about that. But anyway, if you do tune in here on PulumiVision on Thursday, I will not have a guest. So if that, but it's just going to be me going solo. But we're going to be doing a full stack Pulumi, I guess we might call it. As much as I don't like the term full stack, but it's fine. We're gonna.
Is this?
But
like
I'm going to be using.
Running?
What's that?
Is this like an up and running?
No, what I'm doing is my buddy, coworker, Christian Enciato wrote a great blog post about deploying the MERN stack on DigitalOcean using Pulumi. And so I'm just going to kind of go through the stuff he did with that. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to sort of get a MERN app, running out on DO using Pulumi. And those are all the pieces, and it'll be fun. So my favorite type of stream to do is one where someone else has done all the work and I'm just following along.
Honestly, I think that's great. We talked about that earlier during KubeCon. Like that stuff is so valuable to people. So I love it. That's awesome.
Great. Well, so thanks for tuning in to PulumiVision. Don't forget to push the subscribe or follow or whatever button is on whatever social platform you're watching this on. Just do that. And we will see you on the internets.